What's up, guys? So I got this old Ryobi pressure washer right here. It was given to me and it wasn't working at the time, and I've kept it for a while. Kept it for a year, and I thought about trying to fix it. I just haven't had time to fix it yet. So I pulled it apart and I looked online. I noticed that the two things, actually three things that go wrong with this thing is there's a switch up here that can go bad. That's like a $2 switch. There's a valve that turns the switch on in the back right there. That gets dirty. You could just clean it and then put it back in. And then on the gun, the last thing that can happen is on the gun inside here there's an O-ring, and that gets pinched or damaged, and that could keep it from working. And what my problem was with this is when you put the pressure on with the water, turned it on, it would just stay on, and this gun would just spray out. Like it would be on all the time, non-stop, and the pressure washer wouldn't turn off at all. So took this apart, switch was fine. As soon as you hit the switch, it cuts off. Took the valve apart, it was fine. So the last thing I did was I took this apart, which are some screws right here, and inside here there's inside here is an O-ring, and that was pinched, so it stayed on. The water kept coming out, leaking through the O-ring. So I took that apart, put the new O-ring in, put it all back together. As soon as I put it back together, this would stay off until you hit the trigger, and then it would kick on. This thing turns on and off perfectly. Once it builds enough pressure, once it's full at pressure, it turns off, which it's supposed to do. Hit the switch, turns off. And then once you release the pressure by using the power washer, this starts building pressure again, turns on automatically and builds pressure again until it's full with pressure. So I got that all working. So I've had this, and basically what I want to do now is I'm trying to clean up my garage right now, and this kind of just takes up room. I don't use it to power wash really, the house or anything like that. This is mainly just to wash cars with. I mean, it's not that, high pressure. It's only 1700 PSI. This is probably, 4 or 5 years old. And I just don't use it at power washing, anything like that. So what I want to do is I want to turn this into a dedicated detailing, power washer, washing your cars area. So that way it'd be easy to come out, easy to go in on the wand. And, you don't have to, thing with this, you have to lug it around. Then you have to unwind all the cord. Then you got to unwind all the pressure washer hose and then wind it all back up. It gets kinked. And this carrier is not that great, really. It's just basic carrier. So what I'm thinking about doing is mounting this to the wall, which I've already bought some stuff to do that. Mount this to the wall. Then I bought myself a hose reel right here. This one's made by, you can see right here, General Pump. I could put a link in the description where I got this at. This is about 80 bucks. But this mounts basically to the wall. Your hose right here would wind up right here, and you can crank it and loosen it up, and then it has a little check. So that way, once you've had your curtain, so once you already have the desired length, you can lock it in, and then this thing won't go no more. It locks in, so that way you don't pull excess length off. And when you're done, you can just roll it in, you'll be good. So that's what I like about these. I have an air compressor and a bunch of lines for the air compressor, and they're long and they're just a hassle. You unwind them, then you gotta fill it up, whatever you're gonna do, fill up your air tires, then put it back. And I really just don't like that. I got myself a hose reel, just a basic hose reel, locks in, everything like that. It dangles right there. I use this all the time now. The compressor, I turn it on, I pull this down, I get what I need, lock it in, fill up tires, whatever, air tools, put it back. So in this area right here, I just cleared out all this room right here. What I'm thinking is underneath this is gonna be the detailing area. So I'm gonna mount the compressor, the water pressure here, the hose reel underneath it, and then on the bottom, I'll have my bucket, my wash, and all that good stuff. Whatever else I would need to wash a car, detail it. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. I'm gonna try to mount it to the studs right here. So I got this piece of board right here to mount the reel on. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and screw this in to the studs, locate them. The studs are kind of off on the wall, so they're probably like one right around here and one right here. And then I'll mount the reel to the center, so that way everything's symmetrical. I just painted it white so it would look decent behind there. So I'm gonna mount the reel to this board. And then I got this board right here, and I'm gonna do the same thing, use it as a mounting for the studs, because then what I'm gonna do after that is I'm gonna mount these hangers, these L brackets, mount it to that, and then I'm gonna have a shelf that goes up right on top of that. So it's gonna sit like that, and then above the shelf would be the power washer here, have my little attachments here, the nozzles. Maybe I'll make a notch here for my foam cannon right here, so it can hang on there. So that's pretty much the plan. I mean, your boards will be different sizes just because based on your style pressure washer and what have you, but concept is the same. It just might be a little bit different for mounting. And then the hose, this is the hose that's gonna go on the reel. What else I got? Oh, on this reel, you can use your old line, which probably like a 25 footer, 35 footer from your Ryobi, if that's what you're using, or your old pressure washer. I went and I got a whip line made, which is this, about 20 bucks or so. Make sure you get 3/8 fitting, male fittings on each side. I messed up right here. I got a female, so I had to buy an adapter, which I put on here already. Made this a male, but they come female on each side. So you'll have to get 3/8 on your whip if you're doing a whip on each side. You can go and buy this attachment at Lowe's. I'll leave a link. This is like 10 bucks. It converts the 3/8 to M22, which is used on these cheaper electric power washers. If you have a gas, you wouldn't need this. They're usually all 3/8. That's the standard. And then on this side, like I said, this is all 3/8. So this is a 3/8. You're gonna need to connect your pressure washer hose to this. So you're gonna need a 3/8 to an M22. You can get that also at Lowe's. I think that was 4 bucks. So those are all the fittings you will need. Like I said, if you get the whip 3/8 all the way around for both males, you'll be fine. So the concept is this goes through here. This is your pressure washer line. I'm trying to do this one hand. This goes connected into here, like so. Like that. And then you wind this up, and this will go and get wound around. So that's the basic concept. I'm gonna go ahead and start mounting some stuff, and we'll probably have to time lapse it, and I'll fill you in on things that you might need to know. You do need a water hose. Water hose is gonna go right here in the front for your feed. I already went and run my water hose line right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect that to the front right there, and everything will be fine. So let me put all the guys on a little time lapse, and we'll get this thing installed. All right, guys. So I already got the board put on the back with the studs. I put these little L brackets you can see here that's gonna hold this shelf. I've already mounted this shelf right here. I haven't screwed it in just yet, but it's on there, so I can put the power washer on top of that. I did a little slot on the back. You see it right here, and that's just so I can slide in a hose through the back, so it makes it more of a clean finish. So I got that already done. So the next step is to get this board, mount that over onto it, so I can mount this onto it, mount the reel onto it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna center this onto the board, mark where the holes are gonna be, and then I'm gonna countersink the bolts. I'm gonna countersink the bolts that go into it, so that way, because the bolts that come with this are nuts and bolts, so they're gonna be washered and nutted to each other. And then the back, I don't want the bolts to stick out, so I'm gonna countersink these bolts on the other side, so that way it sits flush. And then I'll mount these with some lag bolts or whatever to the studs, and then we'll be able to crank it. This will be really sturdy. I mean, this is where all the work's gonna be put on, is you cranking this over and over and over again. Just make sure that's all, good and wound up. So a lot of force will be put on this, so you wanna make sure this is really sturdy on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that done, and I'll go to the next step. So all I'm doing is checking the holes, make sure they're all lined up. There's gonna be one right here, and there's gonna be another one right here on this hole. I countersink them until you can put the nut in there, and you see it's not protruding out. This is gonna be the back side. They're gonna go in like this, and then we have nuts and washers. They're gonna go on the front side of it. So let me finish these out. There's gonna be another one right here. It's pretty flush. Just clean up the hole a little bit. Got the last one right here. So those are all the bolts. Fit in each one. Everything looks good. So now what I'll do is I'll turn it around. Actually, I'll leave it on this side. These holes right here, I'll drill to the size of the bolt. To the size of this bolt right here. I'll drill a hole through so the bolt can go all the way through it, and then we can anchor it down. If the bolt's too short to go all the way through, I haven't checked it yet, but nah, it should be fine. If it's too short to be able to thread into there, what I'll do is I'll just countersink these holes a little bit more, and it'll give me more depth to go down and anchor it even more. So if it's too low, we'll just do that. All right, so I couldn't find a drill big enough for the bolt, so I'm just using a spade bit, just the same. I'll put it in here where those holes are at, finish drilling the hole through so the bolt can go through. What I'll do is I'll offset it off this table so we don't drill into the table. That looks like a pretty good size. Probably need to go up one more size, but that's a pretty good fit. We'll just screw it through. Those are all 4 bolts, all drilled out. You don't have to really worry about this because if you have a blowout like these are, because once the plate gets over it, you're not gonna see the blowout or anything like that. So you're straight, but you can see all the bolts line up perfect. So next is we'll feed all 4 bolts in. I could probably hammer them in, or I could screw them in. Doesn't really matter. All right, so we got all 4 bolts in. What you're gonna do next is you're gonna set this right on top. Gonna put your washers. Got your lock rings. And you got your nuts with the, these nuts have the nylon, so they're not gonna back out. Okay. Okay, so next we're gonna install the whip cord. Remember the one that you have for this fitting is gonna go to the pressure washer, and then this one's gonna go to the line underneath on the bottom. Make sure you put some Teflon on it on your connections, just so that way you have no leaks. I already put it on this fitting. We're just gonna twist it on, get it nice and snugged up. These fittings should be flare fittings, so they don't go all the way to the end. The more you snug them up, the flare tightens up actually on the fitting, so you don't need to seat them all the way to the end. That looks like a good fitting. And then again, this is going to go to the pressure washer, which when we mount it up, it's going to go up here on top to the back. So let's mount this thing up. So I went ahead and mounted it already. I put a couple screws in just to hold it to the studs while I lag bolt it. So I have my hands free when I'm putting the lag bolts in. It's a little crooked. I need to adjust it a little bit, but I can't find my lag bolt attachment for my impact drill to screw them in. So I'll leave it like this just to finish off the video for y'all. Next thing we need to do is just attach our hose right here to this fitting, run our line through this hole right here, and then wrap it up, and then we can mount our power washer and everything on top and put the line going up to there to connect to that. So that's what we'll start doing next. So we're going to feed the line through here, and then we're going to attach it to this. Put some Teflon on it. On the fitting, so you get good connections, no leaks. Definitely don't want to leak in your garage, by your radio or anything like that. Leaking water in here while you're washing your car, not looking back at it. So got some Teflon there. We're gonna connect our connection here. On here is that 3/8 fitting we put to this L to the M22. If your power washer already is 3/8, then you wouldn't need to worry about this fitting, but the Ryobis, the cheaper ones, they're all M22. That metric fitting. So that's that. And I want to route this around somewhere where it's not going to get pinched or caught. And then you're going to go ahead and roll up your hose. Looks like we're getting caught right here on this back, on this whip. So I might have to change out one of these fittings. I might take off this fitting and put this one straight to this one. But for now, it should be fine. The hose I'm reeling up on here, it's just a 35 foot. This reel goes all the way up to 50 foot, or I think it's 100 foot actually. So you can have room to expand. I wanted to get a 50 foot, just couldn't find one that I could get at a decent price. So I figured a 35 would be fine for me for now, until I find the 50 footer that I want. Sometimes they go on sale. There's that. There's your fitting, which is going to go to your power washer gun. So now that's going to be all cleaned up. Next thing is to mount the power washer on top of the shelf, and then connect the water line to it, which is this line right here, and then connect the whip. Let me get the whip. The whip, which is going to go up through there. I think the water line is in the front, and the power washer line is in the back. I'm looking at it right now, and I think that is right. So I think this actually goes in the front, and this one goes in the back. So what's going to happen is this one, the whip is actually going to come through this hole when I mount it, and that'll clean that up. It'll come up through here and plug into the power washer right there, and that'll clean the whip up right there. So it's just a straight line up, which will look good. And then this one, I think on this, I'll make a notch on this side and come out and then come in, so everything's not in front of your face, you know. I would rather have this all clear up and the water hose being out of the way, not in anyone's face. I know I have this in your face, but that's gonna be fine right there. But it's looking good. I'm gonna put my cleaning buckets here. So I have all my cleaning supplies and my detailing stuff right here in one spot. So let me get the power washer and we'll mount that up. These pressure washer bolts are pretty easy to take out. It's just an Allen key. You're gonna put it in there, and on the bottom side has a little nut. You're just gonna hold it while you turn the bolt off.
And I've been chilling, watching the ocean with you, baby, up with a slow motion crew, and we up in our clouds when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the mall soon. I know she got.
That's gonna sit right on top of there. And what I ended up doing on mine is all the cord you can see here. I ended up just zip tying it all in a wound circle. That way, you know, you don't have so much cables coming out. And I'm just gonna put this plug right in here. Maybe we can't go on top. Maybe let's go on bottom. So that'll be plugged in like that. And then there's the pressure washer. I'll show you. I know it's getting dark out here. Here's the pressure washer. Here's the whip. We're gonna go ahead and connect that into here. Like so. That's plugged up. We're gonna turn it around. We're gonna turn around, put the whip through the line, through the hole. And then tuck the power cord right here. I might need to get a little bit longer of a cord just because the bottom's getting, well, that might be fine. But that's that. Pressure washer's mounted right there up on top. This is gonna be the water line. Like I said, I'm gonna probably run this to the side and in here, or do I might do an L. But for now, we'll just stick it right here in the front. All right, guys, so I got everything installed. Got the reel installed, got the bolts bolted down, got the bolts in here. Everything is good. Got the whip all the way installed on the back of the power washer. I made another whip for the water hose. I just cut this old water hose that I had, whipped it around over here, and I put a fitting over here, a female fitting, and I did a male fitting whip over here to the other side. And why I did that is because I wanted to run this CAMCO water filter, and what that'll do will help with the water spots. So I installed that by just getting a PVC pipe. This is a 2-inch PVC pipe. Cut it down the middle, probably a little less. Made a C out of it, so it can be a snap clamp. I countersunk some holes in here, and then we got it so where you can just snap this in, and it snaps in, ready for the next filter. I'm gonna put another one right here, so I already have 2 ready to go. You change these out about a month or so, depending on how many times you wash your car. I bought a 4-pack of those. I'll leave a link in the description about the model number, but you can write your date on here. But I bought 4. They're less than $10 each, and that'll help with all the water spots. If you're using a foam cannon, things like that, it'll help give you better foam. But that's the whole system right there, all set up. I got this zip tie, it holds it pretty good for the receiver. I can pull it out like that. Pull it out. Now I can put it back in just like that. The reel has this lock, so that way you can lock it in case anyone comes over and they try to mess with it, or if you have kids, they can't unroll it and it'd just be a big mess for you. So you can lock that. Also, when you unravel and you're working on washing your car, you can lock it so that way you don't pull too much that you don't even need to. Right now we're gonna go test it out on this. This is just my daily I have. We're gonna try to do a wash real quick, and then we'll see how it goes. So what I do first is, if you turn the water on first, the power washer will actually let water go through at regular water pressure. So if you have this on a drywall like me, it'll just leak out water all non-stop until you turn on the pressure washer to build pressure. Because once you build the pressure on the pressure washer, that's what kicks the water off, so nothing comes through the wand. So what I do first is I turn it on first. So what I do is I turn it on, turn the water on, give it full pressure, and that kicks off the power washer. So I've got pressure in the line. We're gonna release our lock right here. Pull the wand out. So we're gonna pull out the slack, how much you need to wash your car. And once you have enough, you're gonna go ahead and lock it. That way you can't pull no more. So I'm gonna give it a quick wash. Y'all guys can see how it goes, and that's gonna be it. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Later.
And I've been chilling, watching the ocean with you. Baby, up with a slow motion crew. And we up in our clouds when people change, but not us. And we just chilling, kicking it, kissed by